Alright, my name's Mike. Kind of want to do a video a little different than what we've done in the past, kind of our build series, things like that. Basically, what I wanted to dive into was talking about getting into drifting. So, this here's my S chassis. Started building this car about 2.5 years ago. Basically, tore the car down from a kind of a roller to a bare shell. From a bare shell over the course of about 6 months. Built this car into what it is now. It's a 95 240SX. It's got a S14 SR20 in it. Car's full angle, modded knuckles, extended lower control arms, stance coils, all arms in the rear, welded diff. Me and a few buddies of mine built the car, not really knowing much. I kind of a little background, I started building cars probably 10 years ago now. At that point, basically what I was building was just stance cars. I'd owned a Mark IV GTI I built about a little over, at this point, almost 11, 12 years ago. Air ride, wheels, full built, and a bunch of interior work, exterior work, all of that. Going from there, I ended up actually building a first LS400, ended up building another LS400, and then got to my current LS400. I'll put a photo of what that looks like or a video here. Drove that car for a really long time, but throughout that whole course, I'd spent that whole basically 10 years following around a bunch of my buddies who'd been driving, drifting. At that time, I really didn't have the money or the income to really be able to build, to me, what would be a good drift car. And, well, finally buckled down after everybody kind of beating on me about it, going to events with my buddy B-Wag and a few of my other buddies all over the place, helping out in the pits, working around, and my wife kind of pushed me and said, get a car, let's go ahead and start doing it. So fast forward to now, got this thing, went into my first drift event, not really with any knowledge whatsoever of what I was doing. At that point, my first drift event was Drift Indy's opening day this year, towards the beginning of the summer. At that point, all I'd ever really done is a few donuts and a cul-de-sac. Past that, nothing really. I'd driven some spirited driving in cars, driven around the country, driving a bunch of crazy roads, but never tried my hand personally at drifting. Dived into that first event, no clue, hopped in, jumped in the seat of the car, and was confused as heck even what to do. Never really learned a clutch kick, had no really idea how to go about doing that. I had my buddy Brian riding the car with me. Basically, we went straight out there, first event opening day, track full of people. He just said, gun it, get into second. When you see the writing right there at the wall, clutch kick and just go for it. At that point, it's basically what I did. Tried sending it from there and total disaster. Spun out, went into the grass, no idea what I was doing. After that, throughout the whole day, sat there trial and error. Got it down a little bit, couldn't really do much but maybe kick one turn and try to link a little bit, but could not figure it out at all. Fast forward a little bit past that, I hopped into Drift Indy hosting a drift clinic. Basically what that was is they had a few guys who have been driving for a very long time, very experienced drivers I looked up to for a long time. Went on the track with those guys and kind of actually hopped in the car and was like, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing wrong, this is how you need to go about it. At that point, kind of started getting a little better. They had me actually link in the first few turns of the track right away. Past that point, I literally became obsessed. Luckily, we have Kill Care Raceway here, and every Thursday, open track. Started driving our open track days, trying to figure out how to link the course, run the different setups and everything, and started getting a little bit. Fast forward just a little bit more, we had our our next Drift Indy event. Going out to that event, I had a little more experience. I had a few people still ride with me. It was definitely probably scary for those dudes because I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of making things up as I went and figuring out as I went there, and slowly kind of got the hang of it. Within probably halfway through that day, I was getting it where I was linking the course. Was I confident? No, not at all. I started to basically get to the point where I was running the track, hitting dirt drops, kind of messing the car up a little bit from doing so, but it held together. Past that point, it just kind of game over. I was obsessed, going every Thursday, driving more and more and more every event. Well, I think it was probably the next event after that was getting to the point where I was driving up on the wall. Had a few of my buddies that were letting me follow behind, do some chase and do some tandems and things like that. That same event, I think it was right around that event. Maybe I was like one event after that. I think it was maybe my third event I drove. I ended up blowing up the transmission in this car, which if anybody knows, and current time right now, finding a KASR trans is probably the dumbest thing. They were $50 transmissions a year ago, 2 years ago at this point. And luckily, a buddy at the time gave me a spare trans to have, and I had it in my storage unit. We chilled for the night, drank some beers, hung out with everybody, tried to keep my spirits up. Next morning, a few awesome dudes, good friends of mine, Trevor, Nathan, Chris Mort, Cody Toby, so many other guys came over, literally helped me at the track, get the car up in the air, get the transmission yanked out of the car. Literally sat there for probably 2.5 hours trying to get this new trans in, couldn't figure it out till Kyle Robertson finally decided to go, dude, this is not even the right trans. This is a KA trans, which works, but you have to swap the bell housing, and I didn't really think about that. So after that, Kyle, knowing what he's doing, because I think he's done 10 trans at the track because he likes to apparently blow up SRK transes. Got the bell housing swap, new trans in. Literally a minute into that, got it on the ground. Didn't even test it around the parking lot, nothing. Dropped it down, no hood, no bumpers, nothing. Dirty hands, didn't even wash my hands, clean anything. Ran out to the track, just kept sending it, going from there, and was running the track better than I was even before. I think it's just the hype got me to a point where I was just ecstatic, just pumped to fucking drive. After, at that point, I just kept driving, going forward. With the luau was the one I blew my transmission. A little bit after that, we had, I don't even know what the name of the event was. I got to go out to the track. First things out at the track, I had a few buddies of mine. I had my buddy Brett Leone reach out to me. He's like, dude, you gotta fucking drive with me. Gotta follow me up. I had my buddy Carl. Carl saying the same thing. Fourth event in, third event in. I'm in tandem trains, 3 dudes trying to learn how to lead a train and not completely mess that up. It kind of worked out for me, I guess. I didn't really have too many blunders or mess ups. I think the next event, I went out to drive, kept progressing forward on the car, and kept progressing more and more. Got to actually do some awesome, probably the most fun, coolest laps I'd done to date was driving my buddy Justin Medina. Me and him were basically end of the day trying to throw as many laps as we could. I had him following me in tandem, trying to basically run door. Right on me the whole time. Coolest feeling ever. Watching videos, all the dudes I grew up idolizing, having people run on doors, smacking the side of the door, trying to get them to bump up close as they could. Having that same feeling was just insane. I mean, within not even 6 months of driving, having a dude run up on me, chase, follow me, it was the coolest thing ever. I mean, for anybody who gets to the point where they're coming out driving, new to driving, you need to find those dudes who are just willing to hype you up, push you, hop in the car with you, be uncomfortable in the car with you. It'll progress you tenfold. I mean, I had these dudes way more confident in me than I think they probably should have been. I was definitely not confident in myself, and I actually have one clip, had Justin right up on me, coming into the last turn, trying to get him right up on my door, and went way too wide, second to last turn. Going into the last turn, spun out, and I mean, me and him met inches. My car was spun driver's side against his driver's side, looking him dead in the eye, and that was a pucker moment, pretty savagely. Literally, I think it was right after that. Again, I'm 5 months into driving, maybe 6 months into driving. I think it's the end of the year, going towards closeout. I didn't have the confidence or balls to drive any of the Drift Indy competitions, Street League comps. I mean, I'm new. I didn't even know how to tandem. Really could barely even run the track for a long time. Hopped out, went and drove Drift Indy Street League, the light version. So it's non-tandems, just single car runs. That's what the banner on the car is still from that same event. Crazy, coolest feeling. I mean, went out, practice, no idea. I mean, first turn, crazy hairpin turn. I'd not really gotten to throw the car like that, so I had to kind of learn how to huck it in and hold the power band in the way, and was running through probably 6 laps in on practice. I tried to go a little wide coming up to the bank wall, clip wheel straight in dirt, blew my axle up, snapped that in half. Luckily, my buddy Trevor, who'd literally gone to, I mean, this dude killed it. Every single event I went to, this dude took off work, helped me the night before, prep the car, change the oil, get it ready. Every event, loading up the car. He drove my rig for me. I don't have a trailer, so I've been driving every event. Drove to the events for me, got the camp all set up. Literally broke the axle that day. That dude literally is like, I'm calling. Started calling places. We found one at a local auto parts store somehow, a 240SX axle at a parts store. Didn't think that was possible. I was hoping maybe someone had a used one or something laying around. And I mean, my dude literally drove out, rushed there as quick as he could in my SUV, my GX, picked that up, got back. I already had the old one out, got the new one in. Had time for 2 more laps and then straight to competition. For people, I mean, watching this that are new to driving, it's truly a wild feeling being able to go from probably 5 months ago, being in the car, shitting myself, no idea what I was doing, basically saying like, oh fuck, like, what do you do? And having my buddy Ryan in there saying, here's how you clutch kick, and here's how you link turns, and here's how you transition. Learning that transitions and everything to driving, even as some would say, a very simple comp. I mean, not a tandems, not anything crazy competition, but went out there and probably the highlight of my car career. I mean, 10 years of building cars. I'd won numerous awards, been on numerous websites, videos I've been in. I've won tons of awards at shows all over the country with my show car builds, but doing this, I mean, I didn't even place. I felt like I did good. Definitely didn't go as far out on the second outer zone as I needed to. I'll put some clips of those runs up from the Drift Indy live feed.
Definitely learned, got her doing burnouts and figure eights, and also was putting some decent laps together in.
Second run here. Heck
Nice
of a-
entry,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Very committed.
Another dirt drop.
Could be a little bit deeper out there, but man, that's about the only thing. He's staying in the power, got good snappy transitions.
HKS super sequential blow-off
Yeah.
valve noises, love that. It's a little bonus.
Really good run.
Yeah,
man.
penetrating that outer zone.
Staying in the power. Pouring
Nice.
some smoke.
Finish.
Mike Drake, a couple really.
I mean, the getting off the track that day and just like literally reflecting on how the year started to where I'm sitting at currently right now, it was insane. I mean, literally insane. But no, I mean, literally I just hopped off track. The minute I hopped off track, I mean, I was like, dude, like I did okay. Like I don't feel that great about this. I mean, every one of these dudes that I've been helping in the pits, that I've been watching drive, that I've been hanging out with in the pits for years, every dude of those dudes hyped me up, saying that it was like killer runs, killed it, progression was insane, how far it came. I mean, it was like the coolest fucking feeling, bar none, to just have that like hype. So, I mean, that's going from there. That was my last event of the year. Went into, we had our driver's banquet and everything like that, getting to have that different feeling. I'd gone to these events, things like this before, but I was just more of a spectator and someone who hangs out, and it's cool. But having the hype of actually getting to drive this year and this season and getting to actually hang out with these people, being able to have relative conversations. I mean, not just being like, oh, your car's sick, like, cool, you did good today, like, sick driving. It's like, no, like, talking about setups, talking about things I did wrong, how to correct myself, how to fix things. It's just crazy. I mean, 6 months you can go from no fucking idea what the fuck you're doing, drifting, no idea how to go about anything, to running your first competition and driving pretty good laps, to tandeming with your buddies, running outdoors, following, chasing these guys. I mean, trying to chase cars that are way faster than mine. I still remember one of the craziest events I had was No Star Bash. I pull up to the line, I've been running singles all day. I think I'd done 2 tandems maybe. And even those, I was like, oh shit, like, this is scary. And TJ walks up to me and he's like, bro, he's like, get in this line. Hopped in the line and walks up to me, he's like, bro, you're in the party line. He goes, everybody's tandeming, don't mess up, don't spin out. Walks away. That moment, dude, I was shaking. I had my dude Mike in the car with me and I'm like, dude, like, what do I even do about this? Freaking out, look behind me. I've got Corey Talaska behind me. I mean, a Pro 2 driver running right up behind me. Dude, winning that entry, wildest feeling. I mean, I could just hear both these dudes barking right up behind me. I drove like shit on that. These dudes shredded, but just getting that, I mean, that right there was just a wild highlight in the year of driving for me. And I mean, I say year, it's like 6 months. In Ohio what we have now, it's like 10 degrees outside, cold as crap, sitting in my garage. But I mean, it's just, it's wild. I mean, anybody who's diving into driving, I mean, I'd be pumped, reach out, holler at me. Setup questions, I know a little bit on S chassis. Again, we built this car from nothing and then came up to what it is now. Currently right now building a 350Z for my wife. Learned a little bit of setup that way, got to throw a few laps on that. Insane, cool car. I mean, one of the coolest, simple cars you'll see out there. Yeah, reach out. I mean, talk to people. Find your local community pages. Find who's running your local events. Talk to those people. Talk to people who've been doing it for years. Talk to the veterans. Chat with those people. They will literally be so pumped to give you advice, to push you, to walk you through things, to hop in the car, to give you motivation and just push you to go further. I mean, it's the coolest community. Stan's Cars, it was cool 7, 8 years ago. Slowly diminished, turned into something that wasn't really me. I was almost kind of out of cars at that point before I started building this and getting into this. And this just hyped me back up. I mean, I'm trying to buy another car to drift, so we'll have 3 drift cars here soon. And it's not stopping anytime soon. So, I mean, it's a lot of rambling. I'm going to have another video coming real soon. And that video, basically what I'm going to be talking about is really the carnage this car went through. I mean, you can see right now, fenders ate up on this side, bumpers barely hanging on. I mean, my hood's all mangled. A bunch of goofy stuff that happened through the year that I didn't put in this. Showing you the damage that can happen to your car in the first year, things you kind of got to be prepared for. Things you should have extras of, backups of, all those kind of things. Kind of dive into that for anybody else that's new, their first year driving. Give them a little insight and heads up, and hopefully it can be informative. I mean, hopefully this just kind of me rambling, telling BS stories about my first year of driving a car and drifting, but hopefully it'll hype somebody up and inspire somebody else to realize that it's not some big money sport. I'm not spending tons of money. Yes, it's an S chassis. I built it a few years ago and it was a lot cheaper. But on top of that, my wife's 350Z, it was a $4,500 car we put $1,500 into. And it's a shred, anything shreds. It's a fantastic car. You can do it for not a lot of money. You don't have to be some professional driver. You don't have to have all the knowledge in the world. You can kill it. So anyone coming out, reach out to your locals, get involved in your local driving programs, go out to your events, support the local events, keep these tracks open, keep these people doing what they do, and just help people around you. Don't be ignorant, don't be stuck up in your own ways, and just go about it. Again, kind of a randomly video. It's one take, so I probably fucked up everything I've said. Probably made no sense. I'm gonna have to listen to this and probably be like, well, what am I talking about? But yeah, that's kind of a summary. My first year driving, some of the ups and downs. And again, next video will have a little more in detail. So appreciate you watching. If you like, comment, subscribe. Videos, a bunch more content coming. Build series of some more in the S14. Definitely some E42 content of the wife's, 350Z content of the wife's, and maybe a new car content. So follow us, let us know what you want to see, and you guys have a great time. Enjoy driving and shred in 2022.